Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Inside the Mirror podcast. I'm your host, Kyle David. If you didn't know, now you know. Back at it. Hey, real quickly, next week I'm back on the train of having guests on the show. I know it's been me for a minute. I haven't had guests on in a while, which was the right move at the time, but I think it's time to bring some people back on and have some cool conversations. So next week, my boy Angus Boyle, all the way from across the pond, will be on the podcast, and it should be exciting. He's been on before, and he's a great dude and great conversation. So look forward to that coming soon. Today, though, here's what I want to talk about. Where do we, and this is a question for you and I, where do we go for comfort? Where do we go for comfort? Where do we run to, or what do we run to, or who do we run to when life gets hard, right? Do we have positive outlets that we go to and run to when life gets hard? Or do we run to coping mechanisms? Do we run to toxic people, toxic situations, bad habits, etc.? Like where are we going when life gets hard? What are we doing? Right? And I think a lot of us, myself included, have gone through life not even thinking about that, right? We run to the wrong things, we run to bad habits, etc., but we're not even thinking about it, right? It's not conscious. It's not in the front of our mind like, hey, I shouldn't be doing this, right? We develop habits over time that aren't good a lot of times, that we aren't even thinking about when we do them. And so that's what I want to talk about today. Where are we running to? What are we running to? Who are we running to when things get hard, right? Like for me, in the past, if you know, I had a bad addiction issue, and that was where I ran to when life got hard or anything got uncomfortable or hard in life. I ran to alcohol. I ran to substances. I ran to drugs, weed. I mean, whatever. I ran to things that weren't good for me when life got hard. And that's how I coped with the hard things, the uncomfortable things that didn't go my way. That's how I coped. I ran to those things. Also, over my life, I'm sure a lot of you can join me in this one. We run to people, right? We run to people, and we look for people to solve our problems. And that's not all bad, right? If you're running to the right people, if you go to the right people when life gets hard, good for you. You need those people in your life. But if you're running to like toxic relationships or toxic people, just because that's what makes you feel good when things get hard, there's some soul searching to do. And again, been there, done that. So not preaching at you, preaching with you, if that's a thing, right? So like go with me there, right? Like for me, again, like bad habits was alcohol and drugs. Then it was work, right? Then I turned to work and just threw myself into work when life got hard, so I could basically just ignore everything else and just put myself fully into that. I've had again, like I said, like weed, marijuana, like that's one that I've run to over and over, and then I don't, and then I do again. No matter how you feel about it, right? It's overall, it's not a great thing for me to run to, right? But that's my pattern, right? I run to negative thought patterns. I mean, we all have those, right? I run to being anxious and fearful. When hard things happen, when I'm not comfortable, right? We run to things. Whether it's a tangible thing, it's a person, it's a thought pattern, it's a whatever it is, right? Like we're all running to something. But on the other side, right, we can run to good things too, right? Like one good thing that I've run to over the past 6-8 months is exercise, the gym, right? That's a great thing. Like when life gets hard and uncomfortable, a lot of times I go to the gym, or I go outside, or I go for a run or a walk, right? Like exercise, that's a great thing to run to. So again, it's not all bad, right? People, again, if you're running to the right people that listen well and give you wise counsel, and help steer you back in the right direction, run to those people, right? Run to the gym, not physically, unless you want to, right? But run to the things that are good for you, right? Go put that emotion and that energy into something that's beneficial, that's positive. My sister, she's an artist, and she goes to art. I know a lot of times when things are difficult or hard, she's able to go to that outlet, and it's a positive outlet, right? I'm trying to think of some other ones, right? Anything, right? Again, hiking, nature, working out, art, music, friends, people, family, right? So many good things you can run to when life gets hard. So I think the thing to focus on here is being aware and conscious when things get hard and when they get uncomfortable. Like, ask yourself, like, what do I feel like going to right now? What do I feel like running to? Right? Whether it's good or bad, and assess that. Assess whether what you're running to is positive or negative. It's something that you should be or shouldn't be running to. But only you can assess that, right? You can get input from others, but you need to be aware of it. You need to be thinking through. We need to be thinking through. I need to be thinking through. When things get hard, when things are uncomfortable, where am I going? What am I going to? What am I running to? And is it good for me? Or is it not good for me? Because again, habits compound over time, right? And so if you're running to the wrong thing consistently, your life is not headed in the direction that you actually want it to be, because your habits are your blockers, right? And it's a habit, good or bad. What we run to, who we run to, where we run to when things get hard is just a habit, right? It's just something we've done over time, good or bad, that we now do just without thinking, right? It's just something subconscious that we just do. And so we have to be aware of it if we want to change it. And if you might also be surprised, right? Like, you might find, like, man, I run to a lot of good things, again, like exercise, art, whatever. Dig into those things even more, right? Like do those things when life isn't hard, if you're not already. When things aren't hard and uncomfortable, like, go to those things, because there's a reason you go to those things. There's probably a peace or a comfort or something that you're getting from those things, that you probably want to run to more, even when life's not hard. Right. And then when you recognize, like, oh man, I am running to, XYZ, toxic people, bad thought patterns, bad habits, whatever it is, catch that. You're not perfect, right? So the goal is not to be perfect, but it's to make progress and to identify the things you're running to that aren't good for you, and then work on swapping them out. One by one, right? It's not perfection, it's progress is the goal. So when life gets hard or uncomfortable, be aware of where you run to. And if it's good, run more. And if it's bad, replace it with something that will actually help you and bring you life. So those are my thoughts today. Hope it was helpful. Like I said, be back next week with a guest again. And until then, hope you're all blessed. Stay well. And this has been another episode of Inside the Mirror podcast. I'll be back soon. Adios.